Good evening. It's time for Real Talk Elgin with your host, Heather Keller of the Keller Group of KW Inspire. Heather is a leader in real estate sales and a foreclosure specialist with over 13 years' experience. Real Talk Elgin is your place to get the latest information about the newest trends in real estate. Learn about the industry and ask any questions you may have for Heather. Join Heather live in Studio 14 in downtown Elgin by calling 847-931-1410. That number again is 847-931-1410. And now, Real Talk Elgin with Heather Keller.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm happy to be back. It's been a month, and I'm excited to be here. I am your host of Real Talk, Heather Keller, licensed real estate broker with Keller Williams Inspire. I have about 13 years of expertise in real estate, traditional, lots of short sales, buyers, you name it. And I'm here because I want to provide the most accurate real-time information of all things real estate. So we are on season 2, and I thought today was episode 4, but it's actually episode 5. So yay, that's awesome. And I'm excited about our guest. He was on at the end of last season. So it's actually almost been a year since I started this show. And I like to start off with this quote. Someone once told me that in order to succeed and move forward, you have to go out of your comfort zone. And being on radio last year around this time was definitely out of my comfort zone. It was the one thing that I hadn't done. And my husband was in radio, and he's like, let's do it. You can, you have all this experience and knowledge, and you can provide all this information to viewers. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I went out of my comfort zone to start this radio show, Real Talk Elgin. And here I am almost a year later, and I'm excited to see what happens in the coming year. So if you have not liked our Facebook page, please do so, Real Talk Elgin. We are also now on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and if you have a Google, which I do, so if my kids are listening, please ask our Google to play Real Talk Elgin. I think Alexa does it as well. I'm not familiar with those. If you want to listen to any of our past shows, you can go to realtalkelgin.com. All of them are on there. You can download them there. Also, if you would like a free copy of my book, The Complete Guide to Selling Your Home as a Short Sale, you can go to the top right corner, click on Short Sale Booklet. It will take you to my website. You can actually read the book now online. We have an online version, so we're with the times now. Or if you want a hard copy, you can fill out the form and we can drop one off or mail one to you. Free of cost. So later on in the show, we will talk about the new location of Keller Williams Inspire. I have been talking about this location for a year now, and I am so excited. I promise it's coming. There is actually a location. And then we'll talk about upcoming shows and podcasts for 2021. I'm about ready to start planning for the second half of the year. It is crazy that, gosh, the first quarter is almost done. Wow. All right, so if you have any questions now throughout the show, maybe past shows, please call in 847-931-1410. Again, that's 847-931-1410. We are also live on Facebook, so if you want to ask questions there, it's WRMN Radio, right?
Yep.
Yes, okay. All right, with all that said, let's talk about our special guest today. So Bruce Strom, he was on our last show of the first season, which is like mid-December. It was cold outside and dark. Now it's light out, and I'm super excited to have Bruce back. He is the founder and CEO of Administer Justice, which is local here in Elgin. It is a wonderful, wonderful organization. In fact, I've been in Elgin for almost 8 years, and I only recently found Administer Justice. So I'm passionate about helping others, and so is Administer Justice, and that's why I wanted to have Bruce back on the show, because it's important. I want to let people know that Administer Justice is there to help, or if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, you can come and volunteer, and we'll talk more about that as well later.
I learned so much when you had him on the first time. I wasn't even familiar with it, so
yeah,
great.
I'm
Listen
very
up, folks.
excited. So please, if you can't stay, tune in later, download us, watch us on realtalkelgin.com. So Bruce, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me back.
Yes, I'm excited. It's really hard to believe, but it has been just over 3 months since you've been on the show before.
Wow, goes
and then,
fast.
Yeah, and then I think at the end of the second quarter, we're going to have Bruce back again, just to continue to spread awareness of Administer Justice. But why don't you tell everyone a little bit about Bruce?
Okay. Well, I am the proud father of twin sons. I'm so glad that they're grown up, and I
didn't
didn't
know
have
they
to
were
join
twins.
so much. So many people, so many of our single moms that we serve, and so many other people wrestling through this COVID crisis. I can't imagine if my kids had been school age. They're graduates from college, so in COVID, we missed their college graduation, right? A lot of these ceremonies that we all missed.
So they were seniors last year.
They were seniors last year. Now they're out and they both are employed, which is a great thing in COVID and doing well. Married to a wonderful woman, Helen. She's been here with me in Elgin now for 30 plus years. And she's a wonderful Latina from Puerto Rico. And we are just blessed beyond measure to be a part of this community.
Yeah, you are very lucky that your kids were older. So I have to say, I think the schools are now going back full time, which is great. Mine are going back full time after spring break. Woo, I'm so excited.
Isn't it?
So
That's
you're
what
lucky.
I hear. That's right.
But, I truly believe everything happens for a reason. So we had to go through that. It was just a part of the season. And, it's been a year, so we're changing. So that's great. So you've been in Elgin for a long time. You were attorney. Why don't you tell everyone about your background?
So I did have a private practice. After I graduated from law school, I formed my own practice, and I grew that to many different locations across the area, a lot of different lawyers. I was the senior partner of that practice, a trial lawyer by profession, got to argue cases all the way to the United States Supreme Court. I loved law. I loved big law. But God got a hold of my heart many years ago, now more than 20 years ago, 21 years ago, and just showed me that there are a lot of people who cannot afford lawyers. They could not pay the $10,000. I had a case that was over $100,000, and that was 20 years ago. The cost of lawyers is unbelievable, and 1 in 3 Americans simply cannot afford a lawyer. And for issues that make a significant difference that people need help on, as I saw that widening gap between those who could afford lawyers and those who could not, and those who could not get good information because there's so much fraud and misinformation out there. We live in a world where it's impossible to discover the truth today. That was so badly needed. And so God called me. I'm a Christian, son of a pastor. I serve all people, love all people because I believe God loves all people. But that was what motivated me, my faith, to leave my private practice and start Administer Justice full time. And that is a not-for-profit organization that serves the vulnerable, and people cannot access lawyers so that they can sit down with an attorney or they can talk to an attorney, get good guidance and direction, not somebody who's trying to just make $1 off of them, but who's really giving them the real scoop on what is going on and what they need to do, and give them great direction and counsel.
That's
Amazing.
so great, yeah.
I even during your practice, you had to have come across people who you felt were just getting a bum deal because they didn't have proper lawyer. They didn't have somebody that's helping them down the right path, right? Getting messed up and doesn't get what they're deserving of.
Happens all the time. I was just in court a couple weeks ago for a friend, because most of the time I'm now encouraging lawyers across the country to step into this area. But I want to on purpose be involved still with clients and helping them. And so I was in court for somebody who had an issue, and in front of me was a homeless man who didn't even understand why he was there. And the judge was so upset because just didn't want to take time to explain anything to this poor gentleman. He's taken 2 buses in order to get there from the shelter that he lives in. He doesn't have the resources. He's just trying to understand what's going on and why he has to take all this. Can he get help? And I just stepped up for him and said, Your Honor, let's give him a public defender. We were in a criminal courtroom. And let's change this courtroom from this that didn't have Zoom to another courtroom where there's Zoom, so he wouldn't have to make all those trips. And they agreed, but it wouldn't have happened if just stepping in and trying to help someone, because too often, we're concerned about other agendas and forget the person that's in front of us who really needs help.
Yeah, or like people are so worried about what other people are thinking, and I think that's so wonderful of you, because that really breaks my heart. Even in, I'm in the real estate industry, and I don't know how many people I've come across over the years that it's sad. Like they're trying to take advantage of these families that are going through foreclosure, and it's sad. It's so sad. And we just need more people like you and your organization and attorneys that are going to really give the right, accurate information so people can make an informed decision and get the right legal help. Okay, so you kind of went over what is Administer Justice. So you went over it. It's briefly say it again.
We do. We provide legal aid assistance. So honestly, any kind of legal issue, and we can talk about some of those kinds of issues, but we're there to be your front line where you can get help. You were saying how they could access your thing. It'd be nice. Wouldn't it be great to just say to Google, I've got this issue, Google, tell me the answer. They're not that sophisticated. It doesn't work that way. So the only way to get good, clear guidance is to talk to a professional, which is a lawyer. And you can't access lawyers, right? As I said, 1 in 3 Americans can't afford. There was a new report that just came out last month that showed 150 million civil legal issues that people encounter every year. That's a lot.
Okay, so what do you mean by civil legal?
Sure. So what I just described with my homeless friend, that's in the criminal system, and we'll help people navigate that some, but mostly what we do is the civil system. So housing, like you said, with real estate, foreclosures, evictions, very big right now. Also in terms of family issues, always big. What's going on? What can I do with my family?
Especially now.
Yeah, especially now, and especially because of just all of the pent-up challenges from being cooped up,
stuck in a house,
and all of those things.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, sadly, we're going to see a rise in child abuse as they start to return to school, and now suddenly there's somebody who actually sees the kids that haven't been seen. We know that. Domestic violence, the same kind of way. These are all civil justice issues.
Okay.
So most of your day-to-day things that you would run into or questions that you would have would be considered civil justice issues.
Yeah, so and we'll get the second part of our show, we're going to talk about the volunteering, but just quickly, I do volunteer with Minister Justice, and the one I was on was Zoom recently, and it was, just to give an idea of a case, it was a lady who couldn't afford to pay an attorney to go through a divorce, but her and her husband were on the same page, which I feel like never happens, but they were on the same page about
Good
everything.
For them. Right.
Child support, where they're going to live, and it was wonderful to hear that, because I feel like when you're going through that situation, people fight, but the attorney really helped her. She was taking notes of what she needed to do to file. So it was great to hear that and experience it.
So how are you volunteering for that? Because obviously that's not your field of expertise. How does that work?
So, we can talk about that.
I know you're going that later.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
that's
but
okay.
yeah, it's just,
we
it's a
can do
segue
whatever.
there, yeah.
So I got involved with, it's really crazy how I got involved with the Minister Justice. I have a friend out in Lake Zurich area that I met through Willow Creek. And she was like, I have this lady through our church that needs help. She doesn't have a mortgage on the house, but there was an electrical fire, and she needed to get out. Otherwise, she would have to pay the village all this money, and she couldn't repair it. So I helped through that situation. And then Rayma, I don't know if she's watching. Hi, Rayma. She was like, oh, you should talk to the ladies at my church. And it was the Hope Collective or the Hope Co., whatever. And they were out in Lake Zurich. And I told them what my specialty was. I mean, ultimately, that's my goal, is to provide just that service for anyone in Administer Justice. I mean, technically throughout the country, but locally here, I can help more.
Okay.
But they were just starting out, and we'll talk about that. But their program has just started. We launched in January and had February, and then the last one was this past weekend. I had to miss it because my husband was moving into his new shop location. That's a whole nother story. But so I've only done it through Zoom. The next one in April I will go, but it's a lot. We're still trying to learn and put it all together, but they have different roles. The volunteers have different roles, and then people can go and sign up online to have a virtual appointment or an in-person appointment. And it just so happened that the lady that I was helping and the attorney, because I'm not an attorney, so the attorney does it all, was the lady. She lived in Elgin. She was in Elgin, but she signed up to go to Lake Zurich, to that location.
Okay.
So it just kind of was in the works. And then I wanted to meet Administer Justice. I was on one of the volunteer, the videos that you have to take, the class.
Right.
And Emily was doing, she's a part of Administer Justice. Correct. And she was doing the video, and I recognized her daughter because her daughter is good friends with my next door neighbor, who they're like family to us, and they babysit.
Right?
And so I remember her being at the house all last summer, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, so I messaged her. I was like, are you, so-and-so's mom? And so then we connected. I was like, and then I realized Administer Justice is in Elgin, and I was like, how did I not know about this? And I'm so passionate about helping others.
Yep.
Because my niche is short sales. I don't care. Like, they help with everything, and that's why I want to continue to promote them and get it out there, the word out there, because it's so important that people know that, you can get help. So,
and it's just a doorstep away. That's the one thing, literally, because of your story. But that's the one thing that we've got it here in Elgin. But you said there's multiple locations.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about, since we already talked about volunteering, we might as well just continue with the volunteering, right? Okay. So there's a lot of questions that come up, even with like the location in Lake Zurich. Are there locations? Let's talk about quickly. Are there all locations throughout Chicagoland? Like, are they all over the United States? What are the locations of Administer
Yes
Justice?
and yes. So the website, administerjustice.org, locations, there's a locations page there, and someone can go there. Very soon, just like you keep announcing the things that are coming, and you're like, it really is coming, right?
Hashtag coming soon.
Hashtag coming soon. Our website is being upgraded so that there'll be a zip code finder right where the person can type in their zip code, and then the nearest ones will come to them. Because to answer your questions, from coast to coast, we have different centers across the country. We're national, headquartered in Elgin, even though we're the best kept secret in Elgin, which I absolutely want to change, and thank you for helping with that.
You are. Seriously, I was like, wait a minute. I live in Elgin, and I could literally run to your office. How do I not know about Administer Justice? So I think I said this early on in the show. I really believe everything happens for a reason, and people meet for a reason. So I'm glad that we were able to connect, and hopefully the show will bring more awareness to any clients that may need help, or people who want to volunteer. If you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, this is it, and it's local. And there's Administer Justice in a church here in Elgin, isn't there?
Right, Elgin, downtown, Discovery Church. Elgin starting soon. This is going to be a trend, hashtag coming soon. But at Judson University, they're opening soon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As they open, yeah.
Okay.
Which will be great as we can involve students and faculty. Then there are a couple other locations in Elgin that are in process, but not yet there. Okay. And then in other towns throughout the area, St. Charles, Batavia, Lake Zurich, as you said.
I think you said one in Roselle, or Roselle's starting or trying.
Correct, right. And then there's several across the city of Chicago. There's 10 across the city of Chicago right now. And then there's some downstate. So really, we're trying to get to a community near you, right, to be that doorstep that you just said. We want justice to be as accessible as the post office, right? Why is it hard to find a place to go? We want to change that. And so we're looking to get in as many places as possible. And as you ask about ways that people can get involved, hey, talk about it. It's an easy way to get started, as you know what HopeCo did. It's an easy thing to start. There's no cost. You just need to volunteer 4 hours once a month. And we'll fully train you, as you said, and you can have deep impact in the community as you open up your doors to provide answers to these justice questions.
Yeah. Okay, so who can help? Does it have to, like, I'm not an attorney, so, someone who's volunteering, it doesn't necessarily have to be an attorney, although you probably need attorneys.
I need attorneys. If you're an attorney out there, yes, please, we want to talk to you to help you understand how the system works, because attorneys are always a little skittish if they don't feel like they have expertise in a certain area. We've got lots of help for that. Or time, because time is money to lawyers, very big money. And so we work with lawyers carefully, but I would love to have an attorney reach out to us. But we have a 9-person team at each of these site locations, ideally. one of them is a lawyer, 8 of them are not. So there are lots of roles for people to play, from hospitality. Hey, once we start opening up a little bit more, people are going to really want hospitality. Go someplace where you just make it homey for them, really nice. When's the last time you went to a government place and had any kind of nice hospitality? A place that they were going to care about your kids and watch them while you had to go talk about ugly things with a lawyer, or treats, coffee. But we want to make it very welcoming to people, to reduce the stress that they're under that we recognize. And so it's that to people, all kinds of other roles, from intake, because of course we need people like secretaries that can help with computer input, to advocates who help make sure that social needs are being met, as well as just inviting them. Hey, if you're interested, we're not going to push things, but we're here in a church. We'd love for you to come back on Sunday, and just invite that way. And then we have other team members and team roles. So we would love to. It starts with the Journey to Justice that you were talking about. That
Yes, that's what it was. It's getting late. Journey to Justice. So I would say if someone is interested in volunteering, whether it's an attorney or anyone for that matter, you have interest, then they can reach out to us, correct?
Absolutely. At administerjustice.org, right on the homepage, right underneath the banner that shows a visual of what it looks like at a center.
Administerjustice.org, right?
Administerjustice.org. You'll see a sign up, a button that you can push to sign up for Journey to Justice.
Yeah, and they have them a couple times a month, I think. Or
actually, one
is
a
it
week.
more now?
Yep,
okay.
1 week.
Yeah, so you can log in, and it's virtual still?
It's virtual.
Okay,
correct.
so you can log in and take the Journey to Justice, and then you'll have a better idea of what Administer Justice is all about and the volunteer opportunities, correct?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, because I took mine in like October. I'm like trying to remember it. Okay, so we talked about the roles. So that would be the first steps, taking the Administer Justice. What happens then? If someone is interested in volunteering and they take that's a requirement. They take that class first, then what happens?
Yeah, then they will get an automatic email afterwards that they can mark that they'd like to volunteer, or there may be other ways that you want to be involved that you will learn through Journey to Justice. But if you mark volunteer, then we have a volunteer services director. Did you talk to Lisa?
Yeah.
So Lisa will reach out to you, have a great conversation, figure out what your interests are, where you're located, try to make the connections. And then, as you know, once you've landed there, then there's specific training, role-based training that you can go through. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it's helpful so that you'll know exactly what to do in order to really have high impact in people's lives.
Yeah, and those are all virtual too.
All virtual.
And I think they were like maybe 45 minutes. So they're not long, but it gives you an idea of the different roles. So you said time. So time, it's for a volunteer, if someone's interested, the time's going to be, 4 hours a month? It's on a Saturday, depending on
4 to 5
location.
hours on a Saturday morning. That's correct.
Okay, that's good. What about, and I get this a lot, so since Minister Justice is a faith-based organization, if you're not, do volunteers have to be Christian like the attorneys or anyone else?
Right. So it's a great question because we want to welcome all people. So certainly from the client perspective, we do not have a metal detector that you go through that says, whoop, Muslim, whoops, Buddhist. We'll serve all people.
Yes,
because
we love
truly,
everyone.
I believe that God loves all people, created all people. So that's our fundamental belief. From the volunteers, we ask that you would agree with our perspective. All right, so certain as long as they agree with their perspective, and they're going to show compassion, because there are some people who really don't like low-income individuals or look down on them. We are not going to be a good fit for you because that's just fundamentally against our beliefs. And then there are a couple of roles that we do ask that they be Christian, but it's a couple out of the team. So otherwise, you can be on the team, and we'd welcome you to be a part of it.
Yeah. So if you're not, or want to learn more about that, come to Administer Justice, take the course, because if you're passionate and you want to help people, then it probably would be a good fit.
Yes, it would.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about what clients are good for Administer Justice, not the volunteer side, since we already did that on this one. And we'll talk more in just a minute. Thanks.
Welcome back to Real Talk Elgin with real estate expert Heather Keller. Call 847-931-1410 and Heather will be happy to answer your questions about real estate. And now back to Studio 14 in downtown Elgin for more Real Talk Elgin with Heather Keller.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we get talking more with Bruce, I'm just going to go over a couple of other things. So Keller Williams Inspire is coming to Elgin. Did you guys know that? What? Seriously, it's been over a year in the making, and we are very, very close to opening. In fact, I didn't even ask for an update because in 2 weeks, I am so thrilled and excited that my special guest is going to be Karen Prahl. She is the operating partner and regional director for Keller Williams. So she has, she partners with Pete Economos, yay! Here in the Elgin, there's Geneva, and then there's Plainfield. There's 7 different locations. And then she just was promoted to regional director for Hawaii and Northern California. And she knew about it when I was in Hawaii, but she couldn't say anything. So I am so excited to have Karen on because we are going to talk about the Keller Williams Inspire location in Elgin, which is on the 2nd floor of the Elgin State Bank on the corner of Bose and Randall, across from Chick-fil-A. And what's the other one? I forgot. I'm drawing a blank now. Portillo's. Yes, Portillo's. And we're going to talk more about Keller Williams in general. So I'm really excited to have her on the show. It's going to be a super, super big one. Okay, if you want a free copy of my book, The Complete Guide to Selling Your Home as a Short Sale, maybe you are facing financially hard times, everything that's going on right now with the pandemic and the moratoriums ending, I would love to get you a copy of my book. You can call or text 224-407-2220. Again, that's 224-407-2220. You can also go to our website, realtalkelgin.com, and at the top right corner, click on Short Sale Book. There is an online version now, and if you would like a hard copy, please fill out the form and we will get that to you. Again, if you have not liked our Facebook page, please like it, Real Talk Elgin. There's lots of information there. And then all of our past shows you can download or listen on iHeartRadio, iTunes, or you can also go to our website, realtalkelgin.com, and listen to them there. Upcoming shows. So we have Karen, like I said, in 2 weeks. We're going to be talking with tons of other people in the first half. Financial planning and rentals after short sales and foreclosures is another big one. So stay tuned as the coming weeks, and we'll talk more and more about real estate related stuff. All right, let's get back to talking with Bruce. So the first half I had planned to talk about clients and how they can help administer, or how you can go and to administer justice and get help, but we talked about volunteering. So let's talk about the type of people that you can help. All right. So how can administer justice help? Let's start there.
Absolutely. So we were kidding around earlier, but it's true that wouldn't you like to be able to ask Alexa just to solve your legal problem? That would be great.
Like Google, can you sell my home as a short sale for me? Or
Correct.
Google, can you divorce divorce us or whatever it may be. That is not the case. So you really need to go to
because
attorneys.
People have questions all the time that are legal, and you can Google, but then you get all of this stuff and you have no idea what's. In fact, the top third, if not the entire first sheet, is ads, and so it's people intentionally trying to literally scam you.
Yes. I always tell people not to cut anyone off, but Google is your friend if you want to try to find, like Google me, Google Heather Keller, and you'll see tons of information on short sales and stuff. But if you go Google like short sale or how to do a short sale there's so much bad information out there. So you can't Google when it comes to that. You have to go to an expert.
Exactly right. And then who do you trust?
Yeah, you don't.
Right, because you don't know. And with lawyers, and if you guess wrong, that's an expensive misguess. And so for us, we take all of that out. We are a faith-based organization. You can disagree with our faith, but just know that that's coming from a place that is sincere and genuine and has your best interest at heart. And so you can trust us. Then we're not in it to make any money. My lawyers all volunteer. The only charge that we ever have for a client is a small $30 administrative fee. It's like a copay, only unlike doctors where you have to pay that copay every time you see them. This is a one-time copay, and we'll continue to help you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because in the one that I was volunteering with at Lake Zurich, we weren't sure on that, actually. I think it just, our brains were fogged or something. But so it's $30. And then that's it. So
that's
she
it. So
wanted
they
to
have
come
additional
back.
questions that come back. That's right. A lot of times with the divorce, right? You would.
Yeah,
In
she
fact,
wanted
in
to
your
come
case,
back and ask questions.
You'd help them know what they needed to do, and so then they could go and they'd put
Okay.
together forms or something, but then they want to come back. That's right. It's just that one-time fee, no additional.
That's what I have. One of the questions is, what's the cost? So $30, that's it.
That's
so
it.
they go on. How would they, if someone is interested in getting help from Administer Justice, kind of what are the steps? Would they call? Would they go to the website? And then we can talk about what's still going on with COVID. So
Yes and yes. So
Okay.
they could call if that's their preferred method, and that's 855-818-4554. So that's an 800 number. And that's on our website right at the top, too, if you go to administerjustice.org. And we just hired 2 more people to answer phones because phones are ringing off the hook.
Are
As you might
they?
imagine, there's a whole lot of need out there. So we may miss you at first. Please leave a message, but we will get right back to you.
Okay.
We do have a high call volume, but if you leave a message, we just hired 2 new people. It just started, and we will get back to you right away. The other way is you can go to the website, and you will see then you can go to the locations. You could choose your nearest location, and you can schedule online. There is
Okay.
like if you go to other places, an online calendar that you can literally schedule yourself in for the first available appointment that you can find.
Interesting. So I'm curious, all the calls that are coming in, what are the majority of the cases? What are people calling about? Is it a lot of it divorce? Or what is it? I'm just
Sure.
curious.
So it is housing, but not yet the short sales or foreclosures. That I think is
that's going to be
coming.
later.
Correct. And I do see that coming. And then we'll be working together, Heather, absolutely. But right now it's evictions. And
Okay.
so there's landlord-tenant issues that are even now arising.
So it's the tenants that are calling.
Correct. The
Okay.
tenants are calling. And then family is the big
one,
area
okay.
right now. And that's a variety because courts just started opening again, or there's confusion even around court processes.
Okay.
How do I navigate this? And then there's consumer issues. There's a lot of debt things that have come up, and what's going on with these contracts or this debt that I owe. Those are the primary areas. And then there's a whole smattering, of course, of other kinds of issues.
Okay, so if there's anyone out there listening who may be struggling with any of these situations, it may be best to just schedule a time.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Get good, clear guidance. If you're not sure, the worst thing you could do is think, I'm not even sure if this is legal, and then it becomes a bigger problem because that's what legal problems do.
Yeah.
Get information early on because then we can really help you. Same thing with the short sales,
It's
right?
the same thing. You have to have a plan in place. And, a lot of people are, shameful about it and they just throw it under the rug and don't do anything. And I always say, maybe you're not ready at this very moment, but you have to have some sort of plan in place.
Correct.
So at least we know that Administer Justice is a wonderful organization that's providing legal help to people who can't, don't know where to turn, can't afford it. And you can trust them. So go.
There's no skin in the game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You are doing it just for the sheer idea
so
of helping people.
call. What's the number again?
855-818-4554.
Yeah, I'm really bad at memorizing
I've got it
numbers.
up on Facebook. so
Okay,
we got it up there.
good. So if you live on the Facebook, then look for it there. So they can call that or schedule online. So then they pay the $30 right away.
They do. You'll post it if you sign up online. You will post that, but you won't be charged until you actually see the lawyer because maybe something comes up. With a lot of our clients, something comes up last minute. They can't make it. You're not going to be charged unless you actually have your appointment.
Okay. So let's talk about real quick the COVID situation. So the one in Lake Zurich, the church that I'm working with, they just started this past weekend with in-person. So is the majority of it in-person? Is it all Zoom?
Yeah, the majority is still virtual right
Okay.
now, but more and more are starting. Like in this next month, in April, several of our locations are opening live with protections, of course.
Yes.
But up till this point, and still right now, they're a majority virtual, which is okay. So that's a Zoom. If
Yeah,
you figured
Zoom.
out that crazy system yet, but it's an easy link that you would get, and then you'd have a lawyer and a client advocate that we call them that will be on the line with the individual. You can call in too, so by phone, so you don't have to have Zoom in order to get that virtual appointment. But that's how the majority, but we're hoping and praying, all of us are, all across the country, right, to get the vaccine rolled out, get people more comfortable, and get back to some more normalcy, because we are clearly an in-touch ministry. We vastly prefer, like you and I are right now, being able to sit down and look at one another. There's just some great value in that, and that's what we prefer.
It's very hard. Like the virtual, it went fine, and I think people just have come accustomed to virtual over the last year. And you could see, like, I was there, and then the attorney and the client, and then this client had a translator. So there was 4 of us on there. And you probably need translators, right? Do you need translators?
We do.
Just made me think of that.
That's
Okay.
correct. That's
so
one
if
of our
you would
team
like
roles.
to
That's
translate,
right.
Call us. And it was fine. It's just for me, when I'm talking to someone who needs help, like the short sales that I do, I miss that one-on-one and talking to them, because, and even giving hugs. Like, I sit at these kitchen tables and these people are crying because of their situation, and I give them hugs and I tell them it's okay and we'll help you through this. And it is just hard, but I 100% prefer in person.
Absolutely.
And I think Administer Justice, you guys are great, but in person, to really have that one-on-one touch
vastly
is
prefer
that.
the in-person.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, man. Okay, so in person coming in April. Oh, yeah, coming soon,
Coming
right?
soon.
That's right.
Hashtag.
Hashtag coming soon.
Okay, so we kind of probably already talked about this, but is there, like, who is a good candidate for Administer Justice? Is it anyone? Or, like, also, what if someone can't pay the $30? How do you, like, go about that? Like, if someone is...
Those are both great questions. So it is anyone who cannot afford an attorney. I'm not competing with my friends who are making a living as lawyers. Several of us have been blessed. We're okay. Pay the lawyer. Don't look for. Don't take this away from somebody. Don't
can't,
take
yeah.
their appointment. Somebody who cannot legitimately afford an attorney and needs that appointment. That's who it's for.
Okay.
Those that would not be able to otherwise gain that access. As I say, that's 1 in 3 Americans. That's not a small number of people, but that's who we're designed for. And then if there's levels of then non-affordability, right? If you are truly destitute, you're homeless, or just in a severe hardship, we have benevolence funds or scholarship type funds that have been raised by each location site.
Okay.
And they have the ability to reduce or waive that fee.
Okay.
But,
so there is options. Like,
there
if
are
someone is
options.
really struggling and, you're concerned about the $30, still give Administer Justice a call or come to the website, right?
Correct. Exactly right.
Yeah, because you need a plan. We want to help you, right?
We do.
Okay, good. All right, so Administer Justice can pretty much help anyone. Like, I know you said you did civil. Is it civil law?
Correct. Yeah, because
So
what
is
we'll
there
do
anything you don't do? I
there
think
really-
you said that, but
Yeah, there really isn't, because think of us like your personal Alexa that you need, or your personal Google.
All these lights are lighting up in everybody's home right now. You know
Yeah.
that, right? Google. Okay, Google. Hey, Alexa.
That's right. But it is like that because we want to be able to answer the questions. So what we're going to do is the plan that you said. Everybody needs a plan.
yeah.
And if they come to one of our sites, they're going to literally get a sheet of paper. You know this if we're live, where it's going to be called My Plan. It's a document for their next step so that we can help them put together a plan on what they can do, what they can't do, what they need to do, what steps to take. And then if they need to come back, that's fine. We're going to walk alongside them through that plan.
Yeah.
But that's what we do.
So it's not like the lady that we spoke to a couple months ago. I'm sure she's gone through her plan, but the first meeting you talk about it, you come up with the plan, and that's not the end of it. It's not like Administer
Correct.
Justice just then leaves. They'll they have follow-up advocates.
That's right. That will call them to find out how they're doing, check in with them, see if they have further questions. Now it's like a personal Google calling you.
Google.
So,
It's very funny because Google has
It's a noun now.
Yeah, I know.
Like we have a big screen on our, our kitchen table. Not to get off topic, but I just keep thinking all I can hear my kids saying is, Google, play bird sounds. Google, what's the weather
Sure.
today? Or, Google, I got to do my math. What is 100 plus whatever? And I'm like, no, you need to do your math
do that.
yourself.
That's right.
Okay, anyways. All right, so what to expect with Administer Justice. So I know we've kind of gone through all this, but you sign up, you do all that. Is there anything else that the client should expect or need to know about the process?
No, you should expect that you will be greeted warmly. That's what we were talking about, and that's why we like hospitality volunteers when we're live, coming soon. And that once you're there, and then you'll have people that will come around you to help you with forms, because of course, like any doctor or like any place, there's questions that have to be answered in forms. And
yes, and forms can be daunting.
Right, so there's someone to help with that, even though we've
Okay.
skinnied them down to make them much shorter than your doctor's office.
Okay.
But there are still forms. And then there will be a person that will put all that information in. We keep track of it. We have an online database system that keeps track of everything so we can continue to follow up well. Then they'll get to meet with an attorney. Then they'll meet with a client advocate. Then they'll have that follow-up advocate that will walk alongside them, an interpreter if that's needed.
Yeah, I was
prayer
going to say,
support.
if there's someone out there who needs an interpreter, you guys have them. So don't
Right.
be, concerned about, someone can be there to interpret. That's how it was when I was there.
That's
the
correct.
lady was right next to her interpreting. So
Do people need to bring something with them?
They just
So
need to bring whatever they want to have reviewed. I mean, if they've got a legal case, a lot of times don't think that you only have to have a court case, because most legal issues actually happen before you get to court. We would much prefer that, right? The first time they get the notice,
Yeah.
we'd much prefer that versus when they're in the foreclosure proceedings.
yeah, that's harder. I mean, it's doable. It's doable if someone comes to me and say, hey, I have an auction date. Like, for example, I listed a house 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they had an auction date in April. Okay, so they gave me 6 weeks, and the bank said, get an offer, get it submitted by March 20th, which would have been 30 days. Okay, and I did it, and now they postponed the auction till June 15th. So I don't love waiting the last minute. My point to the
No,
story is
correct.
this person waited the last minute, and I don't love waiting the last minute. While I'm very successful at that stage in the process, it is less stressful, and you
Right.
can navigate through the problem better if you start sooner. So yeah,
That's exactly
definitely
it.
come
So that's
up
what we
with a game
strongly
plan.
encourage all clients. If you just have a question, you're not even sure, that's the best time to reach out, right? Or you've started to fall
Yes.
behind. So you can put together the plan that you talked about earlier. That's what we'd like to do. So much easier than when it's in the final stages, an emergency. We'll do everything we can, but sometimes there's just nothing that can be done then.
Or like right now with the moratorium in place, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is ending, and private ones.
Right.
And then FHA's till the end of June. And if you can't make your payment, or, I know everything has to go through the courts in the state of Illinois, but if you can't make your payment, it's better to talk to someone now, so that way you can come up with a plan. I always stress that. You don't wait till the last minute. There are good people out there. That's why I started the show. I want to, spread awareness to people that there are good people within the real estate and, Administer
Absolutely.
Justice
And law.
community. And they're right here. They're on my team, Bruce and all the other attorneys and people that have been on my show. So just reach out. Maybe you have questions. We still have a few more minutes left. If you want to ask Bruce or I a question, 847-931-1410. Okay, I forgot what we were just talking about. I just love talking.
Well, it's not everyone's the enemy. I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
people will kind of, if you fear something, and especially if it's bad news in any kind of format that you're getting it, you will brush it aside and deal with it later. That's
Yeah.
the philosophy that the human being has, right? That's what our
Absolutely
mind does.
right.
But you have somebody, like I said before, that doesn't have any skin in the game, that's only looking out for your best interest. And so if you have somebody that can walk you through that, I think you're right. I think the stress is what drives you crazy, and you've got all these notions running in your head, and that's what causes other big problems all over. So Just families too. People with little kids or people as they're going back to school,
and they're not like, for me, this is what I do all day, every day. I mean, I wake up in the middle of the night to, I hear things I hear the music in my head when I'm waiting to talk to a bank about a short sale. I hear that. Like, I can do my job in my sleep. You can too. Mm-hmm. The people that are struggling, whether it's, going through a divorce or, behind on their mortgage or whatever the case may be, they don't know where to start. They're not used to that. We deal with this every day, so we can help guide them and hold their hand, whatever the case may be. You just have to reach out and ask for that help.
Absolutely.
And the first step is to go
right.
to Administer Justice and sign up in person or virtually. Or
That's
maybe
right.
you're listening to this and you're like, wow, I'm inspired by Bruce and Heather's conversation and I want to volunteer.
Correct.
We need volunteers, right?
And if you're looking to just understand some of these justice issues better, we have a Restore conference that we hold every year
yeah,
at
I was
Judson
gonna ask you about
University.
that.
Usually live. Again, this year it's virtual.
It's virtual?
So, but Friday, April 23rd, Saturday, April 24th.
Okay.
No cost. It's been underwritten by generous donors. But we've got some great leaders. The advantage of Zoom is we can pull in great leaders from all across the country who are going to be talking about justice issues surrounding race and immigration, two hot-button issues, and what would God's people, in particular from our perspective, what's their role in that? And what's any of our role as just good neighbors who are called to love our neighbor, yet we do respect laws, and it can get complicated, right? There aren't easy answers to a lot of these questions, but can't we have a civil conversation together? What a beautiful thing that is in the world in which we live today. This is a civil discussion around those important issues.
So what is it called again?
It's called Restore.
Restore.
And it's free, and you can sign up on our website. It'll be right at the top of the banner
I saw
at
that.
ministerjustice.org.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to ask you about that. And as much as we've talked about tonight, I forgot. So it's just like just a big seminar. So anyone can attend?
Anyone can attend.
Okay.
That's right.
Especially
Attend.
now. Well, the way things are going now, it's such a crazy world right now, just to have something that you can give a little focus and hope for.
Yeah, I mean, the Zoom, as much as I don't want to ever hear the word Zoom again, it is great for situations like this. Like, I spoke about short sales a couple weeks ago already. Gosh, it was 2 weeks ago today. And they asked me, do you want to do in-person or Zoom? And I'm like, let's do Zoom. I wish I would have chose in person, but we were able to bring in a lot of more viewers, so I was educating more people, even though it was through Zoom. You just don't get that personal connection. Mm-hmm. So you're right. You can bring in people from across the country. They don't have to fly in or whatever, and
Correct.
a lot of people can see that.
So join with others from all across the country.
You can
we
sit
will.
in your pajamas and just
And that's
watch
right.
it,
You
right?
certainly can. That's correct.
I mean, they don't have to see you. I think one other question before we start to close out is the same thing with the volunteers. We asked if they, needed to be Christian. What about the clients that come in?
Yeah, absolutely not. Honestly, I believe that God created all people. I believe He loves all people. I don't like when other groups seem to show something different.
Yeah.
Judgmental or any other kind of thing, because I don't believe that that's the way Jesus was. I'd love to have a conversation with anyone over that, but we're never going to compel that, require that. We welcome all people to come, and we're going to serve you regardless of whether you agree with me or not.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. So is there anything else that the viewers should know about Administer Justice? Any goals that are coming up or anything that's happening in 2021? So we are going to have Bruce back. I think it's the end of June, so at the end of the second quarter. But between now and then, is there anything else happening or going on with Administer Justice?
No, if you can, we are going to be growing significantly. We're looking to add at least another 50 locations across the country because we want to be available for everyone. We want to be near them. So I'll update people on that, but it's going to take people introducing us to others in locations where there might be need. Because we're looking to address more and more legal deserts that exist in the country and make justice accessible and available for all.
Yes. So you can share this video from the WRMN Radio Facebook page, or you can go to realtalkelgin.com tomorrow or definitely by the end of the week and share through our website to all social media. We're trying to get the word out about Administer Justice. Thank you, Bruce. He will be back in March. 2 weeks, please tune in. Karen Praw, operating partner and regional director of Keller Williams, is coming on. I am so excited. I can't stop smiling about that. We are going to talk more about the Keller Williams location, and have a great night. Bye. Production value. Oh my gosh, that was like the best I felt out of every show that I've had. I don't know, for some reason, I just,
Time?
yeah, you done well. Really good.